Can't get any words. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast. It's a good day. It is a good Monday here in sunny Logan, Queensland. Hello to any potential new listeners and shit like that. I know I've spoken to a few people in the last week that said they might jump on and have a listen. So hello to you guys if you're in here with the rest of the degenerates that listen to me every week. But you'll never guess. Last week we kicked off the pod after a cabinetry install. This week exactly the same. Had to go back, finish off that job from last week, and I could not bring myself to putting out another shit show of an episode that last week's was. My sincerest apologies for whatever the fuck that was. I genuinely do not know what was going on. I had all these talking points jotted down, and I could just read that, and that's all my brain could process. You know what I mean? It could not expand on that idea, at all. And then I just started talking through things, and it was fucking shocking. So I'm so sorry, guys. I almost didn't put it out, and I was like, skip a week, or do I just fucking put a new episode out later? But I've already spoken about all this shit, so it'll seem recycled. But I don't know. Hopefully you guys listened. Hopefully you got a small, tiny, minuscule of joy out of it. The silver lining, I suppose, I released the first UFC breakdown episode last week, and that seemed to that went better than I expected. I genuinely thought I was going to get about half the downloads that I normally get on a normal episode on a Tuesday, but same amount of audio downloads, which means pretty much all of you guys checked in to listen to me dribble shit about UFC, and fucking double what we normally get on YouTube. So that's pretty sick. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep going with that, I think. We'll touch on that further. When we get to the end of the episode, we can do a bit of a recap on UFC 310. But yeah, let me have a sip of this. Now, so we don't have a repeat of last week, I've tried to take it easy. Now, normally when I've got shit on before I've got to record the podcast, I get in my own head. The whole day I'm stressed the fuck out. I'm like, all I'm thinking about is how late I am to get to the podcast, get it out for you guys. And I think that's what results in putting out shit quality. So I made a conscious effort when I finished the install. I was driving home. I'm like, all right, I don't need to get straight in the studio and start recording. I can have a bit of a break. I could have about an hour or so before I start recording. It's going to make things a little bit tight, but deep down, James, would you rather record another shit episode, quickly edit it together, slap it together, put it on YouTube and audio devices, and then it's done just for the sake of it? Or would you rather take your time, put out a masterpiece? If it comes out an hour or two later, people aren't going to be mad. People are still going to listen. To be fair, most of you guys aren't even awake when the audio... I don't even know why I've got it dropping at 3 a.m. That's just dawned on me. It drops at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday, and that's only because that's when I released the first ever bunch of episodes, and I've just stuck to it. I've been like, well, that's when the episode's got to come out. So don't ask me why I do that, but hey, most of you guys probably don't crawl out of bed till what? What's the most common wake-up time for you guys? I get up at... My first alarm goes off at 3:30, but if I'm out on that first alarm, it's got to be a good day. I've got to be doing something fun to get out on that first alarm, but most of the time I'm dragging myself out of bed about 4 o'clock, I reckon. I reckon if we had to put together an average, I reckon it's about 4. But as I was saying, I've taken the last hour or so. I've had a bit of a scroll on social media. I've sent a couple of messages to some people that I had to reply to. I've had a decent feed. I think that might have been part of the issue last week is I was starving. I literally remember texting Nikita before I started. I'm like, I am so hungry, like stomach pain hungry. And she's like, well, eat. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do the podcast on a full stomach. And to say that I'm doing the podcast on a full stomach this week would be an understatement. I have gorged myself like a fat pig. I've eaten way too much. Do you guys want a rundown of what I've just eaten? And this is completely going to contradict what I'm going to back this up with. Is I came home and I heated Nikita made these like mini shepherd's pie things yesterday, and these like in their own little individual trays, so you can just cook one at a time as you need them. So I slapped one of them in the oven, and I'm going, oh, what am I going to do for 15 minutes while this thing cooks? So I start looking around. Nikita went grocery shopping yesterday, and on top of that, my mum sent home with the kids yesterday their like monthly bag of just shit, just chocolate, lollies, chips, the works. Like, oh, so bad. So I'm standing there watching a pie in the oven, just shoveling fucking cookies and chocolates and everything in my mouth. And I'm like, you are disgusting. You are disgusting. And now you're going to say this on the podcast just so everyone knows how fucking disgusting you are. But yeah, let's see how this episode pans out. Now, to back that up, like I said, I was about to severely contradict myself. And goddamn, I wish we did not have that junk food in the house right now, because literally in the last 2 weeks, I was getting way too fucking fat again. Like, I was getting disgusted in myself. I put on a whole heap of weight again. Like, I think I hit the 125 mark again, and I'm like, oh, nah, all right. Time for a change again, buddy. So the first thing that I did was, and I've never done this because I know I will never keep up with it, but in my head, I was like, I'll just do it for like a day or two just to see what my regular intake is. Now, you guys probably see him all over social media and shit, but Adam Sullivan from EBT, what's this? Evidence-Based Training, I think that stands for. Giant Gold Coast personal trainer. You've probably seen his videos on Instagram or TikTok where he calls everyone cunnies, and he's just got like a funny way to spin like nutrition and exercise information, at least for me to absorb it, and obviously the amount of money that he's made off the back of it. Obviously, a lot of people are a lot like me. So I've consumed his videos all the time, and he's always banging on about, as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you should be able to lose weight. And I'm like, I've always heard him say that, but I'm like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I'm fucking jacked. That was a joke for anyone that's taken me seriously. And so for 2 days last week, I just tracked what I was eating. I downloaded a little free app on the App Store, and I was tracking it. And obviously I was not gorging the way I normally do, like I just did before this podcast. Like, I tried to eat relatively not well. Like, I still ate normal. Like, I think I even had Subway on one of the days. And I was pretty well at like the calories that the app said. On one day, on the first day, I was pretty much there. And on the second day when I had Subway, I was like just over. So I was like, actually, it wouldn't, if I wanted to, like, the only person that can stop this is me, and mum not buying chocolates and lollies. But like, if I really wanted to lose weight, that's not a hard thing to do. After doing it for those 2 days, I reckon if I did it for 2 weeks straight, I reckon it'd just be in my routine. Like, I'm huge on routine. So that was the first thing I noticed. Second thing I noticed is all I do at the gym is just push heavy weights. I'm like, oh, no one wants to do cardio. That's for chicks, am I right? I don't want a fat ass just for blokes to look at it. So maybe once a week, I do a 5-minute warm-up on one of the cardio machines there, and I'm like, oh, whew, that was exhausting. I could run a marathon now. Other than that, I barely go near them. Now, last week, I don't know why I did this. I just did a whole session just on cardio equipment. And it was the sorest I have been in probably 6 years. 6 years of going to the gym. Because with looking at me, you would go, that guy hasn't been to a gym in the last 10 years. But surprisingly, I go to gym every day. It is literally just the fact that I eat like shit. And lately my workouts have not been that intense. It's more or less just a ticket off the box. I've been to gym today. I'm not a fat piece of shit. Let's move on. So I like I said, I was in this crazy pain, but for those of you that go to the gym, you know it's a sick pain. So I'm like, fuck. Like, I became like a little bit addicted to it. And even on Saturday and Sunday, I went to gym in the morning before Nikita and the kids got up, did my normal workout I normally do, and then the afternoon came around, and I said to Nikita, I'm like, I think I'm going to go back to gym and just do like another cardio session. So Saturday and Sunday, I went back there and did 2 more just solid cardio sessions, and it feels sick. Like, the rowing machine is so, what's the word? It's so like, I can't think of it, but like low key, like nobody looks at a rowing machine and goes, oh, that's going to make me jacked. But when you're, I don't know, I just set it for 2,000 meters. That takes me like 9 minutes of just constant rowing. And which I guess someone probably just listened to that and they're like, that's fucking shit, bro. I can do 2,000 meters in 7 minutes 20. Good on you, buddy. Come see me in a year and I'll fucking smoke you. Anywho, so yeah, that when you get like halfway through that, you're like, holy shit, this is hard. There's another one. I don't know if you've seen the videos of like CrossFit gyms where it's like a skiing machine. You just fucking pull these ropes down, and it resembles skiing, I suppose. I never knew that until I like was doing it and I was reading the little blurb in front of me. Holy shit, that is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Again, you just get through that, your triceps start to kill, your fucking lats start to kill. And yeah, I think I'm addicted to cardio. As gay as that sounds, I could be the cardio king. And that could be the episode title. Cardio king. Holy shit. Fuck you, Ash. I can't even read all that on my watch, but I think I know what it means. Here's a little fucking pick me up from Ash. James, you need to do a supercut of all your UFC predictions as it cuts to that person losing. Oh, that would be fucking funny. That's not a bad idea. But we're going to get to it. Shut the fuck up, Ash. Let's rip into what's happened this week. Let's kick off. Let's get real negative and then let's pick back up, all right? Now, I've spoken about the homeless people the last couple of weeks. Nothing's been done about it. Nothing at all. And I've kept a calm head about it up until last week. Now, it was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So I didn't sleep at all Monday night after the shit show that was the podcast episode that I had to release, as well as just fucking, like I said last week, I was just in my head. I've been in my head for the last couple of weeks, getting real down in the dumps again, but fucking whatever. So I didn't sleep Monday, woke up Tuesday with a migraine, text my boss. I'm like, I can't fucking do today. He was sweet with it. So school holidays, I stayed home with the kids. We had a fun day. But then about 2 o'clock or so, now Westy is already petrified to go out in the backyard with these cunts cruising around. Fair enough. Taught him stranger danger well. Now, he comes running in about 2 o'clock or so, and he's like, Dad, someone just threw a mattress in our yard. And I'm like, righto, buddy. Righto. I was about to relay that to something else that could have been fake, but then I stopped myself in case you guys have children in the car. So thank me in my DMs. Anyway, I've gone, no, you're fucking lying. Sure enough, I walk out in the backyard. There's just a dirty, piss-covered mattress just sloped over our back fence. And I'm like, nah, that is not happening. If some homeless bitch wants to throw her piss-covered mattress over at my 7-year-old son, at least pay me for it. Like, that has to be, what, $10 a month on OnlyFans to watch a 7-year-old get slapped in the face with a piss mattress? For sure. I know a few people that would probably pay for that are probably behind bars. Let's say that. I don't know them. I was trying to make a joke. It didn't come out right. Let's move on. So I've called the council again. I've gone, buddy, you need to fucking do something. This is getting out of hand. I'm over it. The kids are scared. The neighbors are all there's 3 of us now in a row that are we're all like coming up with plans and shit, but none of us, like, it's sketchy. I don't know I don't know if you have to be in the situation. Like, I don't know. It's probably like the whole home invasion thing when I said I was telling mates and shit and they're like, oh, why didn't you just fucking get up and bash them? Like, you guys are probably listening to this like, why don't you just march down in the bush and tell them to fucking move on? But if you see these people and just see how like unhinged and sort of, they look like they could snap, if that makes sense. So the last thing I want to do is venture down into their environment. Like, would you walk into the ocean and go, hey, Mr. Great White Shark, I don't like that you're swimming here. Can you please get out of here so my family can swim in this area? That's what it'd be like. I'd go down there. I'd try and act tough. I'd go, hey guys, can you move on? As I say that, I trip over a fucking log or something, and then I'm just the laughing stock of the homeless bush. So hopefully I can come on the podcast with better news next week. I think I said last week they dumped a trolley. If I didn't, they dumped a Woolworths trolley down there, like beside our house, and Nikita fucking lost it. Like, that was her breaking point. And in the last week, they've dumped another 2 Woolworths trolleys. So currently outside our house, we have 3 Woolworths trolleys, which, hey, I might do something crafty out of them. Where are we at? 15 minutes. That's not too bad. I'm happy with that. Are you guys happy with that? I feel like we're on a roll this week. We're going a bit better. My shorts are riding up, so I've probably popped a nut. You're welcome. What have I got next? What's coming up? Oh, fuck. All right. I've got a couple of annoying stories again. Now, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I was selling my old work ute. Good news, it's finally gone. Bad news, I don't think I'm ever privately going to sell a car again. I think I'm always just going to trade in or fucking, I don't even know. But let it go at a boat ramp with the handbrake off, because fuck me. I was so over people just coming to my house and just thinking they're backyard mechanics. Like, I had this mum, like, she was messaging me while we're at the Christmas farm. She's like, hey, can I come look at your ute? I'm like, hey, I'm just out at, where was that place? Stanthorpe at the moment. I'll be home later today. You can come and look then. Otherwise, I'm home all day tomorrow. And she goes, no, I want to come today. So I'm like, okay, fine. I won't be home till like 5, 6 o'clock. She goes, that's cool. She's messaging me every fucking hour. She's like, hey, you home yet? I'm like, and that at that stage, I already had the shits with her. So I get home, I message her. I'm like, I'm home now if you want to come and have a look. And she gets here. She starts looking over the car and she's just picking it to pieces. Like I said, in the ad, I fucking had, this is an ex-work ute. It was owned by an electrical company. Then it was owned by me for my cabinet making business. There's scratches. There's dents. The interior is fucking trashed. There's marks where old stickers used to be. It was all in the fucking ad. And she's rocked up and she's just picking it to pieces. She's like, oh, this is a bit scratched. And what are all these sticker marks from? And I'm like, I literally said to her at one point, I'm like, did you read the ad? She's like, yeah, I had a good read over it. Anyway, she's like, getting under it. She's like, oh, there's oil leaks everywhere and this and that. And I go, okay. My mechanic has not said anything about them to me. He said it's fine. It got serviced like a couple months ago, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, all right, can I take it for a drive? And I'm like, sure. Now I get in the ute. I go to drive it forward a little bit to get it out of my driveway for her. And this thing's fucking bogged from all the rain. So I've had to turn into a 20-minute rescue mission in my front yard, just ripping this bogged ute out. Finally get it out, covered in mud. She takes it for a drive, comes back with a whole nother list of shit. Oh, the fucking clutch is sloppy. And have you ever fucking done this to it? I'm like, mate, it's a work ute. I go, she messaged me. She goes, my son's starting I think it was like a landscaping job or something next year. And they said he needs a work ute for that. I'm like, he's going to be slapping dirt and rocks and shit in this. It's perfect for him. Anyway, she's going on about all this shit. And she's like, oh, I'm just worried it won't pass roadworthy. I'm like, look, if it makes you feel any better, I got a roadworthy done about 5 months ago because, funny story, I was driving it unregistered. I didn't realise I got a $1,000 fine. So I had to go through the whole process of getting a roadworthy, getting it re-registered, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the story because I told you on here. She goes, oh, okay, can I see that roadworthy? Now, I've had a quick scroll through my phone. Can't find it. I go, look, I can't find it right now. I'll dig through my emails on my laptop. When I find it, I'll send it through. Do that. find the link, click on the link, and it's expired. Now, on the link that comes up, it goes, roadworthy in Queensland's only valid for 3 months or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's why the link's expired. So I've texted her. I've gone, unfortunately that roadworthy's run out and the link's expired. And she fucking starts banging on to me. She's like, you need to show me a roadworthy. Meanwhile, in the fucking ad, I've got no rego, no roadworthy because it all just ran out. And it just fucking, it made me so angry. Now, the dude that finally did come and buy it, he was sweet. To be fair, he was probably the best one who came and looked at it. He picked a couple of things, but nothing major. He understood what he was coming to look at. And he goes, okay, I'll come pick it up on Monday or whenever it was when my son can drop me off and we can drive it home. And when he was doing that, while he was looking over the car, he's like, what were the stickers all over it? I was like, it was for my cabinet making business. He's like, you're a cabinet maker. And I'm like, here we fucking go. Please don't. And he goes, I need some new bench tops at my house. And I'm like, of course you do. Of course you're needing some new bench tops. So I go, mate, just send me through the sizes. This cunt calls me like twice since he's picked the ute up. It went probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, to be fair. And he's just called me to tell me the sizes over the phone. And all 2 or 3 times I've been not in a convenient location with a pen and paper. I'm like, mate, I'm not in front of anything right now. Can you text it through? He's like, yeah, no worries. Forgets that conversation, calls me again. Called me on like Wednesday last week. He's like, hey, mate, this is the sizes again. I go, mate, I can't quote it unless you send them through in a text message. And he's like, okay. And he goes, have you got that car unregistered yet? And I'm like, yeah, it was unregistered when you picked it up. And he goes, yeah, but like, have you been Department of Transport and cancelled it all? I'm like, yes, it's done. It's sorted. I go, to be fair, I thought it'd be in your name by now. And he's like, oh, no, I wasn't sure if you did that. And I'm like, okay. I got like, it's all done. And he goes, are you sure? This dude asked me if I was sure I'd done what I'd already done 3 weeks ago. Not even joking, probably 10 times. And I got the shits. I go, mate, I got to go. The car's unregistered, ready for you whenever you want to like register it in your name. And he's like, okay, all right, no worries. I'm like, fuck me. Never selling a car again. What do we got? All right, let's rip into some kid shit. Holy shit, Bailey's in here. She got attacked by a dog yesterday on our walk. That was a bit sketchy. Didn't make the list, though. And I think we're stretching for time. Jesus. So I may have found out that my 7-year-old son might be racist. He comes home from, where is he at the moment? Vacation care or something on last week. And he goes, now, I said last week that Fortnite's done a collaboration with Snoop Dogg and Eminem and all this sort of shit, right? And he goes, Dad, I saw Snoop Dogg today. And I've gone, no, you didn't. And he goes, I 100% saw Snoop Dogg. And I'm like, you might think you saw Snoop Dogg. You didn't see Snoop Dogg. He goes, Dad, I'm telling you, I saw Snoop Dogg driving today. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I can either A, tell him Snoop Dogg doesn't live in Australia, so there's no way it would have been him. Or B, I can ask him why he thought this guy might have been Snoop Dogg. But deep down, I knew what he was going to say. He was just going to say, black guy with dreadlocks. We all knew it, and I didn't want to hear that come out of my son's mouth. So I've just gone, Snoop Dogg doesn't live in Australia, to which he's gone, yes, he does. And I've gone, clearly you know. Clearly, in your 7 years on this earth, you know where Snoop Dogg lives, and I don't. He also then backed it up to think that there were multiple M&Ms. He thought there was more than one Eminem, like the rapper. And I'm like, no, there's just one. And he's like, no, because on Fortnite, there's like, you can get him in like 6 different outfits. Each one's a different person because you got Eminem, then you got Marshall Mathers, you've got Slim Shady, and then you've got like the made up Fortnite M&Ms that they've made. I'm like, they're all the same person. They're just different parts of his career. And that like blew his mind. He's like, holy shit, this guy is amazing. I'm like, you're telling me, mate. You're telling me. Try being 10-year-old James in his bedroom, listening to Eminem, just trying to make sense. Trying to make sense of what this kid from Detroit's going through and just going, yeah, me too, Eminem, me too. Anyway, the fun thing this week that we did, we all took the day off work on Thursday. And to be fair, we've had this booked for ages. I think it's one of those things that you had to get tickets when it first came out, otherwise you were pretty well fucked. I just had a brain blank there that red meant not record for some reason, but anyway, we're good. And we went to Bluey's World up in Brisbane. And for those that don't know, Bluey's the hit TV show of the Healer family. One of the best shows I've seen come out in the last 10 years, hands down. Adult or kid show. It takes the podium. And Bluey's World is basically they've recreated Bluey's house in a giant industrial sort of warehouse up in Hamilton. And I did not have high expectations for it. I'll put my hand up right now. And Nikita and the kids, they've been so stoked for it. And we make the journey up there. Everyone's in a high mood. We're having fun. Everyone's laughing. I'm like, this is amazing. This is going to be a great day. We get to Bluey's World. Now, there's a lady at the front, and she's directing people. There's obviously fucking like 3 or 4 doors that you can go through. There's a door down there for food, another door if you've got a pram, another door if you're like disabled, and then the general entry. So Nikita and I have gone to walk through the general entry. This lady stops us and she goes, "Oh, are you trying to get in?" And we're like, I thought so. Like there's a big sign there that says main entrance. And I'm like, yep, and then Nikita goes to pull the tickets out and she goes, just down that way. And she points down to like the pram section. Now we don't have a pram. Both our kids are walking. And I'm like, that's weird. Like maybe this is if you haven't bought tickets yet or something. So we walk down there and we go to walk in. The lady's like, "Oh, do you guys have a pram?" Look at us. Obviously, we don't have a fucking pram. Am I pushing a pram right now and I've actually gone insane? Is this off the back of last week's episode where James had another mental breakdown and now he just walks around the streets of Brisbane with a pram? I don't know. So I've looked at her as stupidly as she's looking at us and I've gone, that lady down there said we had to come here. And she's like, "No, general entrance is up there." I'm like, great. This is so good. You've just zapped all the fun out of my fun day. We go back up there. This same lady that sent us down there stops us again. And she goes, and I go, "Oh, we got sent up here. Apparently we've got to go through here." And she goes, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Have you been to the toilet?" I'm not fucking joking. That is what she looked at me and my family, my wife and my 2 sons. And she just looks at the 4 of us and goes, "Have you been to the toilet?" What the fuck? I've never been asked that in my life at somewhere that I've gone to attend. It took me back. I looked at Nikita and she's like, she almost smirked, but she knew if she smirked, I would have pissed my pants. I've looked at Nikita, I've looked back and I'm like, we're all good. And she goes, "Okay, off you go." So look, obviously I was then of the mindset of, okay, maybe there's no toilets in there. I don't know. I haven't been in here. Turns out there is for people that are attending Bluey's World. Now, we make it through the next step. We walk through. Oh, no, the cat's coming. She's going to knock my camera. I can feel it in my bones. What if I try and kick that door shut real quick? Oh, we stopped her, ladies and gentlemen. Next step, we make it through the doors. As you walk through the doors, there's baskets of like headband ears. I think that's what they're called. Like, wear your own ears and they're on a headband. That's the worst explanation I've ever heard. Sorry, guys. I hope you guys can visualize what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, for the kids, they've got Bluey and Bingo ears. And then for the mums and dads, they've got Bandit and Chili ears, who's the mum and dad on Bluey. Now, everyone, like the first few families we walk through are your stereotypical families. A mum, a dad, 2 kids. And they're loving it. The people handing out the ears are like, "Oh, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be?" Bang, bang, bang. Just giving it to the stereotypical people. Now, directly in front of us is what can only be described as a lesbian family. And if you're sitting there wondering, were they super hot? Were they super hot lesbians that you'd see stroll around the internet and go, they're hot? They're more along the lines of picture if there was 2 of me. 2 of me kissing each other. That's the type of lesbians they were. That's not throwing any shade at the LGBTQI plus society, not the fucking society. What is that word I'm looking for? I don't know. Anyway, so this couple's got to the ear station with their one daughter, and the lady handing out the ears is going to the daughter, do you want Bluey or Bingo? And the kid goes, oh, what, Bluey or whatever. And then she's gone to give the boy and girl, like the mum and dad headbands. She's got them in her hands and she's looking at both these people as if to say, who's the mum and who's the dad? And they're like, they weren't giving her anything to start with. I was like, this is the best day of my life. Thank you, Bluey World. I can go now without even entering. This has been so much fun. Luckily, after a good, 4 to 5 seconds, one of them jumps in and goes, oh, I'll take the dad ears. And looking at them, I'd say it would have been the option that I would have gone with. So it was just fun to watch that young kid on like school holiday work just squirm for a couple of seconds. But then, yeah, we made it in. This place was incredible. Like, it blew my mind how good it was. Just the way they've built it all. Like, they literally brought a cartoon to life. Like, all the furniture, just all the walls, all the skirting, all the corners, everything was just over-exaggerated and cartoony, but obviously, like, real life. And it literally blew my mind. Like, I was touching shit all day, and Nikita's like, cut your autism out. Like, stop touching shit. And, yeah, I thought it was sick. To be honest, like, we got out, and Nikita said to the kids, she's like, oh, did you like it? They're like, yeah, it was all right. And I'm like, fucking all right. That was the coolest thing I've ever been in. And turns out I had more fun than them. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. The only thing I wish is it was like a tour guided sort of thing. Like, you basically had to follow a ferry along and go on this adventure with them all through Bluey's house. And I don't know. I just like going off and doing my own thing. So if I could have just done a tour of Bluey's house just on my own, that would have been awesome. But then, yeah, we got out to you get out of Bluey's World, and they've recreated like all the restaurants and shit from Bluey as well. Like, there's the Chinese store, like the Chinese takeaway store, an ice cream shop, and what's another Bluey food one they always do? I think it might have been like the bakery or something from one of the episodes. And then they've got Alfie's General Store as like the merchandise and stuff. It was so cool. So well done. And just every little hidden gem in Bluey was there as well. And like, it was a fun little game to try and spot that. Anywho, this is going for way longer than I thought. But yeah, we're out in the playground and the kids go, oh, did I even mention that? Out in this area, there's a giant playground as well where once you finish the tour, the kids just go in there and burn off energy. So both the boys run off in there. And as you go through the tour, there's a couple of areas where you can get photos taken. So Nikita's like, oh, I'm going to go get the photos developed. So I'm just there. I'm watching the boys. Now, there was a lady in our tour group. So I knew, like, I didn't know her, but I knew her face and I knew her kid's face. Obviously, we've just spent like an hour together. So I've related those two together. Now, there was a dad as well. So mum, dad, kid. Now, the dad has obviously gone off on a mission like Nikita's doing, and the mum has stayed there to do the role that I'm now doing. And she was just playing on her phone pretty much the whole time. And this kid has ventured off and lost himself in the playground. Now, I've like kept general eyes on him. Like, I still know where he is, but I'm still watching her. She's zoned out. She's got no idea that he's gone. Now, she looks up from her phone and she starts to notice that she's lost her kid. And she does a lap of the playground, can't find him. Does another lap, can't find him. And you know when you can see that bit of panic start to come on someone's face? Like, she's like twisting her head super fast. She's power walking now. And I was almost at the point where I was about to step in and help her out and go, look, he's just over there on the little seesaw thing. But then I was like, then I'm going to be the biggest fucking creep at Bluey World. Like, there goes my blue card. So I've let her sweat. And then she's started to call the dad. Now, if this doesn't paint the picture of of let's get real sexist right now. Let's get super sexist. But if this doesn't paint the picture of the mum spinning the cards, spinning the I don't even know if that's the word, but she's called obviously the dad to be like, oh my God, I've lost Terry or whatever his name is. That's the worst kid's name as well. Sorry if you've got a kid named Terry. And as the phone's ringing, like she's panicking and you can see she's calling the dad for backup to try and help find their kid. As he's obviously answered the phone, she has spotted her son. Like her son's come running up to her and she flipped that switch. The panic had gone and it was straight to, where are you? Why are you taking so long? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you bitch. Like, I felt so bad for this dude. Like, I was about to step in and help her find her kid. And I was just like, you're a dog. This guy's probably so scared at home. He probably gets hit. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. That's about all that's happened this week. Let's rip into my week in comedy. I've only got the one to touch on because Newmarket is tonight. So that'll probably fall in next week's recap, if we're being honest, because you can't recap it before it's done. But let's manifest. It was the most amazing gig of the year. It was incredible. I crushed. I did my 5 minutes and they were just like, hey, that was so good. Can you keep going for another 3 hours? And I just did a 3-hour special. So now I'm flying to Austin tomorrow and headlining the mothership. So that's how Newmarket went down. But let's get on to the one that I actually did this week. That's right. I had a bit of confusion. So they gave me Wednesday's date, but then they gave me Thursday's gig. And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm just going to wait it out until I get added to a group chat. Wednesday came around. No group chat. I'm like, must be Thursday. Thursday came around. And, yeah, I fucking got added to the group chat. So I was on at the White Rhino in Surfers Paradise on Thursday night. And it was all right. It was probably like I was third on the lineup, and the MC was an out of towner. He's talking to us all before, and just before he goes to run up on stage, like in the group chat, I got made aware that I'd be third. But before he's ran up on stage, he goes, "You're up first, aren't you?" I'm like, "No, I'm third." And he's like, "No, I think you're first." And I'm like, and he's yelled out to the sound guy. He's like, "Oh, is he first?" And the sound guy's like, "Yeah, I think so." Like, he doesn't put together the lineup. Someone else does. And so I've gone, oh, okay, fuck. I need to get my set ready real quick. And then I've started to proceed to walk up the stairs, getting ready to go on stage. And he goes, he finishes his like warm up of the crowd. And to be fair, this dude was a killer. He had a completely different act, like something I haven't seen in ages. Like, he was running around the crowd with the mic, like with the mic and shit, just threading in between tables, literally talking to everyone one by one, face to face. So that was cool to see. Like, he really built the energy in the room. And then he goes, "All right, you ready for your first act?" And he's looking me in the eyes and he goes, "All right, can we put together our hands for your first act, Dean?" And I've gone, he's looking at me and I haven't moved. And he's like, you going to come up, Dean? And I'm like, I'm not Dean. And he's like, "All right, where's Dean?" And then obviously Dean thought that the change had been made as well. So he's had to do the dash from where the comedians are sitting and quickly jump up on stage. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? The MC came up. He's like, "Are you not Dean?" I'm like, "No." I go, "I literally told you 5 minutes ago my name is James." And he's like, "Oh, my bad." I'm like, fuck. Anyway, this was the first time in a while where the first couple of acts, they did pretty well. And I was like, oh, okay, this will be good. This should be good. Got up there, did my first joke, fucking crickets. And I go, all right, if you guys didn't like that one, it's going to be a long 10 minutes for you guys. Luckily, I got a laugh out of that. I could ride off that laugh for the next couple of jokes. And then I lost them again. And I just had to go back to dip my toe into that crowd work again. And look, wasn't the worst gig in the world, but they made me work for the laughs, which is good. I suppose if you get an easy run all the time, it becomes pretty boring. But that's pretty much all that's happened this week. Got Newmarket tonight. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, I just manifested all that good shit. What else have we got happening down here? Where's my little mouse? So this is something that pisses a lot of people off. Spotify Wrapped came out this week. So many people hate people sharing their Wrapped. To be fair, I normally do as well. Now, I had a few people. I shared my podcast one and my top artist one for this year. Because I thought the top artist one was... I don't even know how Spotify got to that for me. Like, it was just pure commercial radio. And like Taylor Swift was my number 5. I do not remember listening to any Taylor Swift this year. Like maybe a song here and there. Or when she came to Australia. That's probably it. Probably for that month she was in Australia, I did pump it a fair bit then. So that's probably where that's from. But it was legit like Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, and Luke Combs. They were my top 5. And so I shared that and I put a little caption. I was like, fuck, I might as well delete Spotify and just listen to commercial radio. Having a bit of a ha-ha. Now, that seemed to tick a couple of people off. A couple of people were like, I hate people that share their Spotify Wrapped. And I'm like, hey, all you got to do is tap your screen one extra time and that disappears from your life. No need to get angry about it. So then I shared the podcast one. Now, the only reason I shared the podcast one is to throw the Can't Get Any Worse podcast at the top of the list with a little champion medal beside it. And then tag my actual top 5 podcasts I listen to in hopes that one of them would see it and reshare it, like a lot of them were doing. Then that gets the Can't Get Any Worse podcast in front of thousands of people. Didn't eventuate as far as I saw. I didn't see any of them share it again. So bit of a failure there, but same deal. People are like, oh, it's fucking lame, bro. Like, it doesn't bother me. People can put whatever the fuck they want on their stories. I actually like watching the whole rap thing and being like, what? Like, what was I thinking listening to that? Like, why was I in my pop punk princess era in November? Doesn't make sense. So Nikita didn't know what it was. This is the first year she's watched it. Blew her mind. She was shitting on it. She's like, why would I want to watch that? She's like a minute into her Spotify Wrap. She's like, this is incredible. But yeah, tell me what you guys had in your Spotify Wraps. I don't know. Then what have I... Oh, this is all the stuff that I've sort of... Actually, no. What the fuck am I... How have I written this week? I'm going to mix this around on the fly. So, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I shared it on the stories yesterday or the day before. But there's a comedian in Australia, Steph Broadbridge. I've only ever seen like a couple of her clips here and there. And she's been on the TV a couple of times. Now, she put together a bit of a comedy musical about Raygun. Like it was called Raygun the Musical. Now, on Saturday, she put up a story, reel, and she's like, hey guys, I've got to cancel tonight's show. Raygun's lawyers are actually threatening to sue me if I do the show. Now, what the fuck? That is so shit. Like the amount of comedic parodies that are out there is insane. And for this breakdancer who embarrassed herself at the Olympics to come out and go, hey, if you make fun of me in your comedy show, I'm going to sue you. Like that blew my mind. Like they threatened her. What was it? She wasn't allowed to do the kangaroo dance because apparently Raygun has somehow trademarked that. Like Raygun owns kangaroos now somehow. I don't know how you copyright a kangaroo, but she's done it somehow. But yeah, I felt a bit bad that she's like worked so hard to put this show together. It's come the day of the show, and now Raygun's lawyers have been like, hey, if you do this, this will be way too embarrassing for her. We can't let our beautiful Raygun face any embarrassment. Like she is the pride of our nation, as if she hasn't embarrassed herself enough on the world stage. But yeah, that was a bit of a shit one. So maybe go give Steph Broadbridge a follow and just be like, hey, I'm going to go see your next show. Heard about you on the Can't Get Any Worse podcast, the sickest podcast on the internet. Now let's rip into what I've consumed this week. So, as I mentioned at the start of the week, starting to dip my toe back into that world of bettering myself again, hopefully. And so I've started re-listening to a heap of audiobooks I listened to at the start of this year and the back end of last year that are just all about like your mindset and just spinning bad shit into good shit, blah, blah, blah. Now, the one I've been listening to the last couple of days, I was just like, fuck, everyone needs to listen to this. It's so good. If you haven't listened to Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, you're missing out. Like, I was not a fan of him. Like, not that I hated him or anything, but he never popped up and I was like, oh, fuck, I've got to see that because he's in it. Like, he never really jumped out at me. And then I listened to this book and I'm like, this is the sickest person I've ever fucking met. Just to hear how, I suppose, like, normal and like some of the shit he does is weird as well. Like, it's cool just to see an A-list movie star break himself down in a book. So yeah, go listen to that. And the whole thing is obviously he's called it Green Lights because he's sort of broken down red lights and green lights in his life and how he's had to overcome them and shit like that. I fully just forgot in my little Bluey breakdown. Check out the Crocs we rocked at Bluey. Are they a piece of art? Like, that's insane. We all had matching Crocs. Probably another terrible thing from the day is how many people were like, oh, that's so sick. Like, it brought so much unwanted attention. But anywho, what else we got up there? This is another, talking about Australian comedians. I should have touched on this one before. So I spoke about Nick Capper a couple of weeks ago, and he released a new special this week on YouTube called Hold Me Closer, Tiny Cancer. And it's basically an hour comedy show about his cancer battle that he had. And funny as shit. Like, some of the lines he had in there legit made me laugh out loud. And I've said countless times I hate Australian comedy, but I don't know. I watched this and I was like, this is actually, I don't know if it's because I listen to his podcast and shit so much, so I genuinely like the bloke, or I don't know what it was, but I just liked it. Go watch it. Tell me what you guys think. You guys might think it's fucking terrible, but I found it good. So go watch that. It's for free on YouTube. Another thing I dipped my toe in this week was, what the fuck? No, I'm just going to skip that. Anyway, before we get to UFC, I just want to play this little video. I love shit like this. So this popped up on my TikTok. It's basically I think you say his name, Lauv I don't even know how to say his name, but you'll know the song when I play it. But this is how he came up with like his big hit. And I just like watching musicians just fuck around and come up with something big. So
I do this a lot where I just like pull out a phone, I'm hearing a melody in my head and I'm like voice memo to this thing. So we got this 808 going and it's like they got that feeling. Waking up in this bed, I like me better when I'm with you. So I went and recorded like a bunch of layers of these. I like me better when I'm with you. I like me better when I'm with you. I like me better when I like me better when I'm. Let's get to the down, the illustrious down. Through the hours talking. Down. Alright, let's do it again. Burning through the hours talking. Lamb. Talking. Yams. And through the hours talking. Scam. Kablam. Toucan sound. Hours talking. Lamb. Burning through the hours talking. Down. And you know it.
But yeah, I like watching shit like that. Just literally bit by bit, just something coming together for someone. There's another cool one from Deadmau5, like, oh fuck, must have been like 15 years ago now, of one of his biggest hits. Maybe I'll get that for next week and watch that together. But let's rip into it. UFC 310. Put my balls on the line. Put my balls on the line. Did a bit of a breakdown for it. Now, like I said on the breakdown, I feel. This is how I feel. This is how I want the breakdowns to be, okay? Almost every UFC I watch, I will always go for the underdog. It is boring for me to go for the favorite. My favorite thing is to just watch the underdog shock the world. Now, I see it as my job to come on here and convince you guys why the underdog is going to win. And I think a couple of the reasonings and shit that I had last week completely made sense. Like, they were not stupid bets in my head. Like, fighting is a flip of the coin, like especially MMA. Just takes one zig when you should have zagged and you're going to sleep. Now, for the duration of the breakdowns, that's all I'm ever going to do. And if there's a fight where I think the favorite's going to win, I'll do what I did last week and either go fight to go the distance or fight to end in submission or something like that. But it is what it is. Early prelims, we're off to a flyer. I think we got like 4 out of 5 bets or something in the early prelims. The prelims, we won't talk about that. And the main card, I think we got like 1 or 2 or something. But again, they're all fucking underdog bets. So if you bet on every one, you still would have come out even. I started to do the maths and I'm like, oh, this could not be fucked. But we'll rip into it. Let's start on this one. Chase Hooper got the win over Clay Guida. Look, it's probably, to be fair, Clay Guida is 83 years old. That should have happened. But for a positive to come out of this, Chase Hooper impressed me. Chase Hooper and Ian Machado Gary both spun my opinion on the weekend. I actually respected the way that both of them fought. Like I said in the breakdown, I'm like, oh, they're both on this giant hype train. I don't like either of them, blah, blah, blah. After Sunday, mad respect. Like that, I think they both needed that for people's opinions to spin because I saw on social media after the fights yesterday, a lot of people sort of saying like Ian Machado lost, but he didn't lose any stock or anything like that. Like he's still up there as he's seen as one of the best, even though he's got a loss on his record now. So he put up a sick fight. I thought he was going to get that choke. That was sick to watch. But yeah, that's what I had on them. Aljo, look, I thought he fought a good fight. I thought watching round 1, I was like, oh fuck yeah, eating shrimp tonight. But then what's the other guy's name? Emavev or something. He spun it around and like I said, his last few wins have come from decision. His last 8 or whatever, he's just added a 9th decision and he's just got that method of grinding it out and just smothering his opponents and just being there, just racking up points on the scoreboard. So is it the most exciting way to fight? No, but if it's going to get you the win and it's going to keep your undefeated record, then why not? But then next one I had to talk about, this one was fucking depressing. This was so sad to watch. Anthony Smith up against Dominic Reyes. You could just tell from the start Anthony Smith did not want to be there. The only saving grace, he took his gloves off at the end of the fight and he goes, I think I'm done. I wish he said, yes, I'm done. And then everyone could have been like, all right, thank you for everything, blah, blah, blah. But to just go, all right, that's probably it from me. Now, it's come out. I didn't know this before the fights, but his main trainer and like best friend died a couple of weeks ago or something. And he didn't want to pull out from the fight. So that was weighing on his shoulders and apparently more than anyone expected because there was a part of the fight where Anthony Smith just put his hands down and even the commentators were like, what? Like, why is he doing this? And Dominic Reyes in the post-fight interviews, he was like, in the press conference, sorry. He's like, yeah, he put his hands down and he's like, just hit me in the face so I can feel something. Which you don't want a fighter just to be in the cage saying that shit. Like that, the cage should be the last place he is if that's his mindset. Like fucking, obviously he's dealing with something huge. Wish him nothing but the best, but I hope that's the end for him. And I hope that's the end for him, Chris Weidman, and Clay Guida. I hope they all hang the gloves up after the weekend. Bryce Mitchell, holy fuck. He's impressive. Crone Gracie, if you didn't watch it, Crone Gracie basically laid on his back, tried to get Bryce Mitchell to come in and grapple for a bit, but Bryce just dropped down on him and fucking knocked him out with an elbow, I think it was. Forgive me if I'm wrong there. Elbow's ringing a bell for some reason, but I've had a blank. I'm hitting my wall, guys. I'm hitting my wall. But Shavkat got the win. Should have spoken about that when I was talking about Ian Machado Gary, but I don't know. it wasn't an exciting fight from him. I think he just did what he needed to do to win, but did not make it exciting. If anything, the title fight between him and Bilal Muhammad, here's a bet for you. I'll put $100 on that'll be the most boring title fight you've ever seen. Just two guys grinding out a match to do whatever they do, just to count up points on the board. But is what it is. The controversy from the card. Volkov, the one that would have made us all our money back and put us back in the green, he lost a controversial decision, which I don't agree with. And Dana White even went up to him after the match and goes, "That was fucking bullshit. You got robbed." So Dana wasn't happy. He apparently questioned the judges and shit after, and they broke down the scoring to him. He goes, "Look, doesn't make sense to me, but you guys are the professionals." So I don't know. Like Cyril Gahn even left the octagon after because he thought he lost. So pretty fuck is what it is. Hopefully they, what's the word where you contest it? That's it. Hopefully they contest it and they can get that off his record just for him personally. Sportsbet refunded anyone who bet on that. That's how much of a robbery it was. But Pantoja got the win relatively easily, I'd say. Like he's a fucking weapon of a fighter. Like I said last week, I've never seen Asakura fight before, and I don't know if he'll even stick around now after that, or whether that was just he's one and done in the UFC. But Pantoja calls out Mighty Mouse in his post fight interview, which blew everyone's mind. Like, it was like, so Mighty Mouse is seen as the best in that division to ever have done it, and a lot of people, even Joe Rogan, thinks that Mighty Mouse is potentially the best to even put on a pair of gloves. So Pantoja's sort of said, "I'm the GOAT now. Come back and defend your GOAT status." Now, the issue with that is Demetrius Johnson is retired now. He also has, I think it was 3 fights left on his 1FC contract. So whether or not they let him out of that to come back and do the fight. The other thing is Mighty Mouse was watching it on his YouTube stream, and he's like, he was confused as to why he was calling him out. He's like, "I'm fucking retired." Like, he also mentioned that he got offered $2 million to fight again, like a little while ago, and he turned that down. He's like, "Why would I come back and fight you just for your legacy?" Which makes sense as well. But hey, hopefully it's one of those fights where the UFC just reaches in their pockets and go, the fans want to see this. Let's put it together. Whether it costs us, given 1FC a handful of money to make it happen, who knows? But the other thing, UFC 312 Sydney, the main event and the co-main got announced. To start with, I was like, that's shit. Like, this will be the first Australian card in a while where we don't have any Australians headlining it or co-headlining it. Last few have been like Volkanovski, Adesanya, who else? I don't know. But hopefully the prelims are all stacked with Aussie fighters. But we've got the women's strawweight title as the co-main, I think, which doesn't do anything for me. Like, that'll be the toilet break of the card, I'd imagine. But the main event is Dricus du Plessis versus Strickland 2. So, I don't know. Like, to be fair, I don't care who wins that. Neither of them really do anything for me. But, yeah, that's what I mean. When they got announced, I was like, this is fucking shit. Like, the amount of, like, how long I've wanted to go to a UFC live event, and now that be the next one, I'm like, kind of glad I have no money to go to that now. Because I'd much rather go to, the next one. Hopefully get a big headlining card. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys stoked with that? Motivational clip of the week. It's a bit of an out there one this week. So let me drag it across. It's by one of my favorites, Tim Dillon. Now, it's not your stereotypical motivational clip, but deep down, like Tim Dillon does, he dribbles shit with an underlying message in there. So this is his motivation for us this week.
Drink and drive every night. Statistically, you're going to be better at it. Am I telling you to do it? No. I'm telling you what it is. If you drink and drive once a month, you're going to be all nervous. Same with driving high. Same with lying. Same with fucking. Same with stand-up comedy. You got to do it a lot. Okay? If you drink and drive every night,
Wife's playing again. But yeah, just a funny way to go about practice makes perfect, basically. So I saw that one. I was like, it's something different. Let's bring that one to the table. Gigs for the week. I've got obviously Newmarket tonight, which we manifested how well that's going to go earlier in the episode. And then Sunday the 15th, Distillery Road Market. So it's our last one for the year there at Distillery Road. Back there in January, I think it is anyway. But the big one for the end of the year, we got, I'm going to MC that one again, send off the year, me MCing, 3 killer support acts, and then we've got Ro Campbell as the headliner. So he's an out-of-towner. Shane Hunter, one of our previous headliners, basically put us together a couple of months ago. So yeah, keen to see what he can do and spin that crowd around there. If you can't get to those gigs, send submissions via DM on Instagram at CantGetAnyWorsePodcast or via email at CantGetAnyWorsePod@gmail.com. Share the podcast around. The holidays are coming up. When you're at Christmas dinner, go, hey, Nan, have you listened to this fuckwit from Logan? It's funny as fuck. I would appreciate that. Any new listeners that have jumped on board for this episode, hello and thank you for coming. Sounded a bit Frank Walker from National Tiles there, but if I don't talk to you before then, before when, fuckhead? If I don't talk to you before next week, I will see you later.